In this video, we will learn how we can work with Excel files using Python. So, I have two Excel files. Basically, the information in files is the same. First file contains information in columns, and for the second file, the same information is rotated and placed in rows, where each row provides information about one object. So my task is to work either with first and the second file, read information from these files, and provide some mathematical calculations. In this case, calculate salaries, multiplying hours by rate. I will create new file and start to work with the first example where information is displayed in columns. To work with Excel files, I will use openpyxl library, and I will install from this library two objects, workbook and load workbook, to work with Excel files and to provide necessary processes to load these files into the memory. You should pay attention that we can work only with XLSX files. This library doesn't provide you options to work with older files, for example XLS files, or to work with CSV files. If you would like to do it, you should use another libraries and another approach. When the library is connected, your task is to load necessary files. Once more, for this example, I will use source column.xls file. I will define variable, and using load workbook procedure, I will load this file into the memory. When the file is loaded, the next step is to provide link to specific worksheet I will use. In this case, once more, I will open the file, and I will see that this file has only one worksheet with the name sheet 1. That's why I will connect to active worksheet without providing name of the worksheet. So the variable worksheet is equal workbook active. Now all data are placed in the variable s, and I can print these values out just to illustrate how it works. You can see that Python outputs the information, the name of the worksheet computer is connected to. The next step is to get information about how many rows I have in these files. So I will use variable max row, and I will read information about number of rows. I can also output this information using print function just to check the number of rows in the file, and also I will check if this number is the same as I can see in the Excel. So in my case, I have 15 rows and 3 columns, and the same information is printed out. The number of rows is displayed. I will also get variable max column, which is equal to max column function, and I will output max column value on the screen. Now I can see that I have 15 rows and 3 columns. Now it is totally the same as you can see on the screen. So these values will help me to iterate with the list. For example, provide necessary operation so many times as it is necessary. Next, we will see how we can get the values from the Excel. When the Excel is connected, the next step is really simple. I can access any cell from the document. For example, I would like to access cell B2 and read information from this cell. For this case, I will define variable x, which is equal to worksheet, and in square caps, I will provide detailed information about value I would like to read. In my case, I would like to read information from B2 and say that I am reading value. I will output also this information on the screen, and this data is no more necessary. I will erase them. And let's see the results. I can read information from Excel and this information is outputted. Right now, I read information only from B2, but imagine I would like to read information starting from B2 till B15. That means that I would like to start from this row and continue these steps so many times as it's necessary. I will do the same procedure using loop operation. I will define for loop. I will define variable row, and I will say that this variable is in range, and the range in my case is starting from the number 2 because I have headers and I should start with the number 2, and I will continue it so many times as I have these rows plus 1 just to complete also the same step with the last row. Not only finish with this case, but I will finish also with the 15th row. And I will say that this information will be embedded inside the loop. That means that my task is to loop all these two operations. But in this case, if I will start this program, the program will read 15 times information from the same static cell. In my case, I should read information not from B2, but I should change the number 2 to 3, 4, 5, and so on. So that's why I erase it from this list, and I will add the number just as value. If I will use B and plus row, remember that row is a number, and in this case it will be an error because two different data types are placed in one equation. So my task is to convert the value to string and start the program. So I can see that I read the value starting from the first line and finishing with the last line. In this case, each time starting from 2, I change the value. First of all, I access the value from the row number 2, then the loop add 1 to the row variable. I access the value from the row number 3, and so on. So in this case, I read information from X. I will provide additional value. I will read information from the second cell, the same variable, worksheet. I will read information from the column C plus S to R of row, and I will say that this is also value. I'm reading value from this case. I have two values, and the next, just to calculate salary, because now I read hours and rate, my task is just to multiply these two values. I will use new variable salary that's equal to multiplying of two values. In my case, this is value X and value Y. I will output the result. In my case, it's salary. And I will check that information works. Unfortunately, some numbers are too big. That means that I should round these numbers. And to round salary, I will add new value to salary variable, saying that I would like to round salary, having only two values in decimal part. So if I will start this application, I can see that all numbers are rounded. I have two decimal values. And now the final task is just to put my variable inside Excel document. So I would like to add these values to D column. Right now the D column is not displayed on the screen, but I would like to add this column. For this case, I would say that worksheet D column, also providing the number of the row in the same case as we done it previously. The same parameter as value, and I would like to add salary inside this value. When the loop is finished, the only two steps exist. First step is to save the results, basically put workbook inside new document and close the workbook. So I will provide save procedure. I will say that I would like to save the workbook, and I will write new name of the workbook, and I would like to close it. The first program is finished. I can start this program. I can see that result file is created, and we can see that the new column is also established and the values are printed inside this column. So this is the example when we work with a column. But imagine we have another problem, more complex problem. I don't have columns and my task is not to change numbers, but to change characters. Basically, in this formula, change not this value, but change character value. How we can use it? So I will create additional example just for working with source raw file. I will create new file, example 2.py, and again, as previously, from openpyxl, I will import workbook and load workbook, and in additional from openpyxl utils, I will import get column letters. The same as in previous time, when all libraries are connected, my task is to establish connection with my Excel file. So again, variable workbook is equal load workbook, and in gaps I will provide access to source, in my case raw xlsx. The next, I establish connection with worksheet. Worksheet is equal to workbook active. I will print out worksheet just to check if everything works. You can see that information is outputted on the screen. So the next, I will calculate total number of columns, and I will output this variable to see that I have 15 columns right now on the screen. Now my task is to read information from each column and output it on the screen. You remember, to read information from full list, I will use for loop. I will define new variable call and say that this variable is in range, and range starts from 2 because in the first column we have headers, and it is max column plus 1. And I will read value. First of all, I will read value like a static value. I will say that I will read from b2.value. Right now, if I will start this program and output the x value, this program will display this value from b2 for 15 times. And in my case, I have to change not the number as we have done it previously, because number is in value, but my task is to change the character. You remember that we connected the get column letter function, and this function allows us to convert digit to character. If I will write 1 to this function, I will output A. If I will write 2 to this function, I will output B, and so on. So I will define new variable character, which is equal to get column letter, and I will say that I would like to get letter from number, and number is from the loop. I will add variable inside the name of the cell, changeable value A, B, C, D, and so on, and static number. If I will start this program, I can see that I read information starting from B, C, and so on, columns from this list. Now I will read the same values from next row. I will say that next variable is equal worksheet, the same variable char plus number of, this is the sort, and I will read value. Again, I will calculate salary. Salary is equal multiplying of two values, and now the final step is to output salary inside the document. In my case, this is worksheet. Again, char, because the character is changeable, and the row number 4 dot value is equal to salary. To complete the task, I will save the workbook, just saying that result is placed in file result to xlsx, and I will close workbook. I will erase also unuseful outputs from my program, save the program and start it. I get the result to XLSX file, and I can see that the new line is added to the string. So, as you can see, the work with Excel is rather simple. You can access any cell by reading and putting necessary information inside it using openpyxl library. All necessary information about these practical tasks we have displayed in this video is available on GitHub. You can get the link to the GitHub below this video. Also, if you like this video, press like button or just follow us on our channel and get more new information about how to use Python to automate your task.